So with that said, we're going to move into our head. As you can see, we're slowly working our way up. We finally made it to the head. We're going to talk about spotting and shaping and some head whips, the action for that, and also emphasizing your poses when you want to hit a pose and you want to swing your head around, right? So first, let's talk about spotting. When we talk about spotting, I don't like to start with your turn technique. I like to start with your head first. So what we're going to do, if you're looking in the camera, is we're going to turn all the way around. You can see I'm taking these little bitty baby steps. I'll tell you why in just a second. We're going to look all the way over our shoulder until you can almost pretty much see your bum in the mirror. We're going to continue to rotate, but not until we flip our head and look over our other shoulder, right? And then we rotate, and you can see that my head is isolated. That's what we want. My head's nice and still. My body's moving, flip it, my body moves the same speed, right? So my head stays still, it's the last thing to leave and the first thing to get there while your turn's happening. So you need to do that until you're really comfortable. Those little baby steps just help you move the same speed. You can get faster at that later, but for now I would start slow just to get comfortable with all the way from one shoulder, not just to here, not to here, but all the way over the shoulder to all the way over the shoulder, okay? That's spotting your turn. And remember that if you were doing that and I was moving towards the camera, I would spot, and my head would actually find my spot before my foot would land. It's the last thing to leave, and it lands before my foot. So I find my spot, my point of direction, before my foot actually lands on that spot, okay? So both directions, practice that. After we go over some turn technique, you can add your spotting to your turn technique. Now, shaping is a whole nother thing. Shaping is when our head leads the turn. This happens much more often in your smooth dances. You can accentuate a movement in West Coast Swing or Cha-Cha or a staccato dance with shaping. So what's going to happen is I'll turn this way so you can see. We're actually going to use our head to start the turn. So instead of our head staying still and our body starting the turn, our head's going to lead the turn. So we're going to take it all the way over our right shoulder until it takes our shoulder with it. Okay? So we're actually going to give it a little bit of a twist. We'll leave our head over that shoulder as we rotate around all the way until we've made that one turn. And then we'll go ahead and straighten it back up, right? So again, if I was facing this direction and I wanted to end facing this direction, but I was going to shape a turn, I would take my head all the way to the right, I would leave it to the right. When my head found that position again, then I would straighten my head up, right? We don't want to end up like this. And remember, anytime that you shape a turn, it's just looking over your shoulder until your shoulder starts to rotate. It's not tilting your head sideways. Okay, so there's a difference between looking and tilting. So we're not going to tilt, right? So over the shoulder, keep it there, keep it there, keep it there. Remember that when you're shaping a turn, your head's going to stay to that side until you're finished with that turn. Okay, so practice that. Head whips. Head whips are anytime that you do some kind of a duck, you do a head whip action. Head whip action, always you want to accentuate the up before you drop it down. Up is always going to be up and to the side, looking to the side. Drop it down where your chin hits your chest and back up. Down where your chin hits the chest and back up, right? So if you want to practice this, add a little bit of a drop with it. A drop and up. A drop and up, just because it helps you to lower that chin as you lower through your legs, right? All the way down. Don't cheat yourself. None of this business, right? No halfway. Up, drop, and bring it back up to this side, all the way back up. So we're going to drop and up, right? So from this side, drop and up, drop and up. And like I say, we're just dropping just to accentuate that down with the head, just because it feels better. Do it slow, get the action of it so you know what you're doing and you can get it all the way. Don't cheat yourself, okay? No halfway business. So the last thing is emphasizing a pose. So if we were going to hit some type of a pose in a routine, or if we were just going to hit really sharp and we wanted to look this way or we wanted to look a certain way, before we look that direction, we always want to take it the opposite way first. So we have farther to go, it makes it bigger, right? So if I was gonna look to the right, I would go, right, when I land. Or I would go, right? I just said right, I went left. I'm dyslexic, I don't know. It was just the wrong way. So right? So instead of going right, you're gonna go, right. So it's just bigger when you take it a little farther the other direction before you hit your final pose. Okay?